You know, I would feel really good if for some reason I could hit the 50-pound mark. I think mid to upper 40s has a shot. But if a man can hit 50 pounds this week, I think he's going to be hard to beat. I could be wrong. These guys always seem to surprise me, so. I'm still kind of in search mode, but I was in search mode a lot in areas that I was anticipating fish to start coming to. You know, multiple day event, pre-spawn, you're going to need to be ahead of them. Did I get a lot of bites in practice? Not really. I got a couple of the right bites. Trying to pinpoint where these females are coming is the biggest deal. There's a lot of little fish in this river system, and I think you'll see a lot of small limits weighed in. A couple of those 5-pound bites is what's going to separate you. Practice was up and down. I eliminated some water, but I found some areas that, you know, I'm confident in they could potentially be the winning areas, but you're just going to have to get some of those key bites. It's going to be the deal. You know, we've been over 50 pretty much every day of practice. Yeah. One morning, the second or third day of our 3-day pre-practice period, when it was like 21 and snowing or whatever, I saw like 49-degree water, like first thing that morning. But pretty much every day, the majority of the areas of the river, it's been, you know, 50 plus. You might find anything as warm as 55, 56, but anywhere from that 50 to 55 range is what I've seen the majority of the areas I've been. Best I can tell, I'd say 100% are pre-spawn. There could have been a few early spawners when that massive heat wave hit a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure there were. But I would say, you know, if you're fishing for those fish, then you're fishing for the wrong ones. You know, I've been bit on several different things in practice. For me personally, if I'm going to win the Bassmaster Classic, it's probably going to be doing something that I've got a lot of confidence in as far as catching the right kind of fish to win the Classic. So I've been experimenting with some bigger baits, just bigger than average stuff. Like, you know, you can get a lot of bites here on a finesse jig, but I've been throwing a bigger jig, you know, and you know, you can get a lot of bites here on a little finesse swim bait, but I've been throwing bigger swim baits, you know, things like that. So trying to trigger those bigger fish to eat, because it's a Bassmaster Classic, man. We're here for one reason, that's to win. I don't know if it's going to play as much of a factor to the winners tally, and the only reason I say that's because of the way the weather's evolving this week. It's getting warmer, it's getting windier. I do think there'll be a really strong shallow bite throughout the river, so I feel like that bite is probably, unless there's a deep smallmouth deal like the canal plays or something like that, you know, I think the shallow fish are going to fire. I do think they're going to be some more coming with these warm days that we're having leading up to the tournament. So, yeah, it's going to play. Yeah, you can catch fish on 4-phase sonar right now on this river. Are they the right ones? Yet to be determined. You know, 2019 when they were here, I think it was a lot higher. I think there was a lot more current and there was a lot more color in the water. So those guys were able to run around, fish the bank on the main channel, catch those big smallmouths. And that's one thing about this river is those big smallmouths. They're either firing on that main channel, it seems like, or they're not. And a guy that can figure those dudes out this week, or should I say dudettes, because you want to catch the females, they're always bigger. That's going to be a key player, those big smallmouth. I haven't seen them show up really good in practice yet, not just as far as normal, you know, fishing, shallow power fishing, but I could see that evolving over the next couple days and becoming a major factor. 18 inches on smallmouth, which is also applies to meanmouths because Tennessee doesn't recognize a meanmouth. So if you catch a cross, a hybrid, looks anything like a smallmouth, brown, whatever, it's got to be 18 inches also. Now I'm yet to catch a spotted bass this week, so spotted bass are 12 inches, largemouth are 14, smallmouth are 18. So that is definitely a challenge. If you're targeting primarily smallmouth or trying to target primarily smallmouth, you could come up empty-handed at the end of the day because there's a lot of 16 to 17-inch smallmouth in this river that are heartbreakers. So that's a risk-reward deal. But there again, it's a classic, so it's easier to take risks in this term. This time of year when they're sliding up on places to kind of get ready to spawn, a lot of those great big ones seem to be a little bit more independent, a little bit more nomadic. And there seems to be more individual fish. I think, you know, earlier pre-spawn, wintertime stuff, they'll gang up offshore on places together and get deep. These southern smallmouth to me are a lot different than northern smallmouth too in the way they act, especially when you're on a southern river system like the Tennessee River system. They act completely different to me, in my opinion. So the big ones that you catch this time of year that are sliding up on these places that are where they makes them more accessible and they're a little bit easier to target, mostly are individual fish.